time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, he's back from the dead. Your show. Putting it on the map, yeah. Saskatoon. Right next to New York. New York. Yeah, what show, yeah. Your show. What time is it? Your show. Yeah, time to talk some shit, yeah. Your show.
You've tuned in, yeah.
Yeah, fun Maggie. Bark, bark, wolf, wolf, move on to treat, yeah. Keep listening.
Hello and welcome in to the Wednesday edition of Your Show. My name is Gary, and still as far as we know, this is the only, I repeat, only live show 4 to 5, Monday to Friday, scheduled viewing in Saskatoon, dare we say in Saskatchewan, and we're so proud to be able to say that and to share this amazingly awesome program with you each and every weekday. We also love to make up categories and say we're number one in them, and today we're the number one show on YouTube that predicted exactly what would happen the second we started and we got the dog in the right position. We're number one. We're number one. Hey, come on up. Yeah, that's yours. Right there. Pop that in. And then we're going to do a little shuffle here as we make our way through. Coach, 2 is in the house. And as you can see, Curtis Anderson is in the house. And what you can't see yet,
watch me go from second to fourth.
Avatar Anderson making his move.
What's going on?
You're coming up.
Going in.
You're coming up. They're sharing the mic. This is special people. Get up here. Stop questioning. Stop questioning. We also have a camera with a dog that is a superstar. Margaret, come here. Up here. Up here. Come on. Come on. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce to you
He thought it was a microphone, so probably not.
the Maggie Cam. There she is. A big fluffy butt for you to enjoy. The Maggie Cam for our incredible friends over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer. When you walk in those doors, Maggie's beautiful boyfriend Leroy greets you, just like Maggie does here at the studio. Leroy walks you up to the till and introduces you to either Mike or Rochelle, and then you have the greatest shopping experience of your life, including those incredible Buckle Up buckles that you can check out on the latest Adventures with Maggie video, which is out there on the social medias. And they also have the greatest cleaning station in the history of all kind, right there in store. All of that and so much more waiting for you over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer. Great Maggie Cam. Well done. Hey, look at this. Coach 2's in the house. Hello.
Packed house.
Ryan, by the way.
Simon, great
Simon.
to meet you.
Nice
Way to ruin the special guest. Thank you so much. That was great.
They don't know Simon who. It could be Simon anyone.
So
Maybe
true.
it's Simon Cowell.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have one more member of the All the Way Around table today.
Oh,
He was talked about during the show as he was the guy that saved Curtis Anderson's baseball team.
Absolutely.
He is a baseball guru. He is the voice of the Rattlers. He is the PA announcer for the Berries. He is so much more. An OG Shaw guy. His name is Simon Hyatt. Come on now. There
You
it is.
missed one. I was going
There
to
it is.
How to
say,
find cameras. He's been away for too long.
someone's
voice of
walking
the
around with
Rattlers?
nothing
I am the
because
voice of
he
the
has it
That's
all.
cool. Hey,
Hi.
this isn't working.
Is it dead? And we talk about this all
Oh,
the time.
gross. This isn't mine.
See?
You're the only one that puts it in there, bro.
Worst.
Did I
Give me
mention
that.
we go live? Well, I'm going to go take all of
Give me
this out.
I'm leaving. You keep the
Okay.
show going.
We are a live show, and because of that, things like this happen. I like to say it's real life. Everything that happens in your real life happens here too. For instance, batteries not getting changed in headsets. For instance, the only guy on set putting a headset into the Paperboy mailbox.
there's 3 in there left.
But there was only one in there today. So he got grossed out by his own earwax buildup in his own headpiece. That's very interesting to me. That's fair. Earwax is weird. I get that. And I can only imagine what our final guest for the All the Way Around table. Bottom right, right beside the fridge. There you go. I'm assuming he always loves getting into these conversations right once we go to him because he says, I watched the opening, and then he always has questions. So I'm sure there will be a lot here. What I want to know is, Mazer, do you think he's in his anti-fresco right now?
No, he's in the library.
He's going to be in the library? Well, I think we better find out. The final guest of the All the Way Around table from all the way around the world, more specifically Melbourne, Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach number 1. Hey, I see a door. I see a door. I wonder what's going to happen with that. Now, give me a quick talk. We had a little transmitter issue here. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, pretty good, Gaza. I'm in the
Yeah.
alfresco today, so it is a little fresh today. I think it's only about 12 degrees, so I've got the blanket. Can you guys hear me okay? I see you pointing fingers. I'm not sure if that
No,
means...
no, you're coming through, but it's a little bit hot. So I need you, I've just learned this, to turn his mic down. Turn down whichever pot that coach number 1 is on. Because I was told that when it clicks in and out like that, it's because it's way too hot. So you're basically clipping your pot. Not the Dr. Seuss it or anything, but feeling a little
That's
Seuss.
very Dr. Seuss.
I know. All right, try this again. He's got a hand mic today. Look at this. Talk to me,
Always
Goose.
is that. He's watched lots of professionals on the space.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Look at that.
Now, I know Curtis did a fantastic job last week, like talking baseball. Like, he just sounded like an expert. But I've got to ask the question. Are you allowed to wear a Yankees hat on this set? Is that what he's wearing?
Oh, I ain't no Yankees fan. I'm a Fred Durst Limp Bizkit fan, so don't you worry about that.
He's gonna break.
I will
stuff.
say,
All right, wow.
I will say the logo is so small, AJ, and it's the heavy brim. It kind of looks like back in the day of Babe Ruth, or like it looks like it's a wool hat almost.
Do you
know what I
remember
mean?
that game when David Wells actually pitched wearing
Yes.
Babe Ruth's cap?
Yes!
I just saw
The
that.
best!
Someone
That's
bring-
what Curtis Anderson's doing.
Right.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
I just
Right?
noticed it.
That's
I
okay.
just always feel like we're about 5 minutes away from a Woodstock 99 riot on this show, and that's what I'm
Dude.
here for.
We're not playing break stuff. We're not playing it. There's going to be no break stuff. What's that there, Phenom? The hand's talking.
I'd like to clear something up. That
Prove
little interruption that I
Yes.
made there, the wax was warm, so it's probably fresh from me just sticking that in my ear right now, just so we all know.
Coach number 1, what do you think of that? You ever
Don't look at
you
me
ever
like
over
that.
you ever
AJ,
overwax your ears?
You're my life coach. I wouldn't be this honest if it wasn't for you.
Well, yeah, I've got no idea what you're talking about. I just found
Perfect.
that a little bit odd. But
All right.
Coach number 1 was it arm day today? Because you got a wider shot, and you're like
Yeah, you
showing
look
off
jacked.
the guns now. What's
Yeah.
going on? I like it.
He's got an elastic band around
Yes,
the top
it's-
of that shirt.
that's right. I just did a few bicep curls just before the show started.
Love
so,
that.
What do they
I'm
call
glad you
bicep
noticed.
curls in Australia?
Oh boy.
Curly.
You know, this is actually when they do
Down
the
under
footy
Willie
shot,
Gomes.
when they do the footy photos with the teams. This is how they sit in the photos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's why I chop off my sleeves.
I'm getting the vapors.
That's hot. I like this. Hey,
And you just got to push up the biceps from the behind. The other thing, too, this is what I found. This is what happens when you have 3 sister-in-laws. When they take photos of family photos and you can see, like you can't see their arms and you think it's behind, they're actually pinching the skin behind their back or behind their neck
come on.
so that the necks tighten.
No way.
Yeah, like that. So there's a couple little tips there.
Interesting.
Next time you're taking shots, Coach Comma 2 with the families, you can get J Mays
So
to
if
pull
I'm-
that skin back on your
Yeah.
neck so you look about 15 years younger.
So
you.
I should tell my wife to do that from now on in pictures? Is that what you're telling
Yep.
me?
100%.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, you should do that.
Okay.
Absolutely. That'll go
I'll let
over
you know how
well.
that goes.
When we did my
Yeah.
wedding photos, our maid of honor said there's this trick where, to make it minimize the double chin, you just sort of slightly just kind of stick your out like that. And so we've got like 50 pictures of our maid of honor like that.
Nailing it.
Yeah.
But they
Nail
see,
it.
AJ's doing it. But the other one is you're supposed to. I watched a video on this recently for whatever reason. You're supposed to curl your tongue and put it in front of your teeth.
It's like if you sort of like a natural duck
Look at that.
lip.
Not like that much, AJ. Not Planet of the
frown.
Apes, but
Oh.
It's all orifices all the time on the show. Ears
just-
and
yeah.
mouths.
Yes.
And,
You know, it's
Hey,
not
has
supposed
AJ
to be
met
that way, but
Simon
it's
yet?
so real. No, I'm trying to
Can we
get
do a
there.
virtual
Sorry.
handshake?
I'm trying to get there. We're getting there.
all right.
Coach number 1, this is Simon Hyatt, local TV legend. He's the PA guy for the Berries, bro. Next to the plate.
I'm pretty excited when I heard that because Simon, if you had somebody who was just getting into doing PA announcements, say with like a party boombox and a microphone behind it,
Nice.
like top 3 tips for beginners
go.
in announcing at sporting events, what would you give?
that's That's a very good question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me for advice about anything before, so I'm a little out of my element. I think the overriding thing I would say for PA announcing, for being a broadcaster, for doing the stuff that Curtis and I do and used to do is lean into your personality. Embrace that. Don't try to be someone you're not. Be who you are. And just, I strongly encourage, if you're doing PA announcing where it's live and you don't get second chances, do some vocal warm-ups. Do the teeth, the lips, the tip of the... I just screwed it up. The teeth, the lips, the tip of the tongue. The teeth, the lips, the tip of the tongue. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. He thrusts his fists against the post and still insists he sees the ghosts.
Awesome.
Do a bunch of those.
I would also just like to do a quick edit where lean into your personality if you have a good personality like Simon. That's advice he gave me a long time ago, and it hasn't always worked out for me in those situations, but...
I would also like to hop on that real quick and say, as a guy who did 1 year of PA announcing for the Rush, I didn't do any of that, and that's why I'm not there anymore.
But
These are
that
all
checks
true
out. That
things.
checks out.
Waddy is now.
No, Waddy's in studio. Gregor's there now. Greg
Gregor's
crushes it, dude.
Greg
Gregor's
does a great
guy.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Did you have Miss Reed as a music teacher? Did you grow up in Saskatoon?
I did grow up in Saskatoon. I did not take any sort of like music or band. Like in
Okay.
high school, you mean?
In elementary school.
Oh.
I had Miss Reed,
It's a
and
long-
she'd go like this, can't hear you, and then she'd do the tip of your tongue, your
Hold on.
teeth, your lips, and then you drop your jaw.
Are you trying to tell us that this Miss Reed is so famous that we would know of her?
Well, because
Or was
you're
she just
doing
your
the
own-
same
No,
exercises.
I'm asking.
I
I'm
didn't
not
know they're
chirping.
common
I'm actually
knowledge. I thought
asking,
she
yeah.
invented them.
I can't wait for Miss Reed to replace me next week. We'll just keep bringing on these people.
Who's
Avatar
at
Anderson.
shortstop for you, Miss Reed?
We should...
Tony Fernandez, great pick.
Let's get caught up, though. Let's recap what happened last week.
Before we
Okay.
get there, this is just one last thing because this needs to be said. Happy belated birthday to you, brother. I
Hey,
hope
happy
you
birthday.
heard the birthday shout out on the show of your birthday. I gave you all the love on the show. Was it Friday, Thursday, one of those days?
Yeah, it was last Friday. Yeah, it was
That's
the big
Friday,
day.
yes. And I totally gave you all the love and shout out. So I hope you got that message from all of us here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Perfect,
Yeah, I
good.
really appreciated it. Watched it a few times.
And Phenom,
Phenom,
the 20th.
20th, had his birthday as well. Phenom, you didn't give a wave yet. Can you even give a wave with your setup? Get over there. Come on. There you are. There you go. Nice. I appreciate
That's a
that.
19-year-old hand if I've
It's
ever seen
amazing.
one.
I've known that guy since he was born.
See? Legends. It's all about
The day?
legends around here.
The day.
I did
I
have
remember
a
it.
alarm pop up, and I know most of us are baseball fans here. And I was watching, it was something that came across the internets or whatever, but it was from one of my favorite shows of all time. I think we can all agree here, Eastbound and Down, the great
Sure.
La Flama Blanca, Kenny Powers. And it was the clip where here, him and Stevie were talking about fixins. Said, "Oh, don't you take any more of those fixins with you?" And it was a whole blooper reel of him saying fixins. So for some reason last night in my head, I just put fixins in my phone. That's what the alarm was that popped up. It's more of just a nod to like the greatest baseball TV series of all time. It's so good. Anyway,
You're talking about This Week in Baseball.
not
Yeah,
Twib.
there
We
you
love
go.
Twib.
Twib
We're all
notes.
Twib guys. We're all
Yeah.
Twibs. We get it. But no, Eastbound and Down, unbelievable. Okay.
Does the closing music for Twib still kind of get you a little bit?
Very vaguely, but I think I need to hear it again. Like I can't.
Get it on your phone. I think
Super
it's
slow-mo
there.
shots.
This-
Kurt
Oh,
Gibson
oh.
rounding the bases.
Oh, so good.
Give him the fist bump. Heavy baseball today, Coach Number One. This is right up your alley. We're really doing it proper.
So
Yeah.
if
Now,
we
can
rewind
I-
the clock.
I know-
Oh, jeez. Just like someone
sorry.
take the lead. We just got a bunch of alphas on
All
the
right.
show.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
Technically, I'm supposed to be the guy who does this. Curtis, take us back to last week. What did we get into?
I was so proud of myself because Gary brings me on Wednesdays to talk baseball for some reason when I don't know about baseball. But he's like, let's have let's have someone who can relate to the common viewer who may be watching that doesn't know baseball. So I listen to you guys talk, and then whenever there's a break, I try to add something funny or give an honest feedback observation about a sport I really know nothing about. But I will say a sport that I'm learning to respect a lot more because
that.
of these conversations.
See?
But there was a challenge that went out to make a list of your dream team, right? Did I say that? Is that correct?
I think it's pretty good.
And I looked at that and I was like, I know no one expects me to fill this out. And then just like fireworks went off in my head. I was like, I got a guy. So I reached out to Simon, and as I'm asking Simon Hyatt, someone I've known forever, Team
Knows-
Ramrod back at Shaw TV.
Woo!
biggest baseball fan I know. I got him to fill it out for me. And as I'm asking him, I'm thinking, how has he not been here in the Dufferin Media Avenue Network as a guy that like built community TV in Saskatoon? This
Especially
is
when
somebody
I'm
that
on here saying
needs
that's
to
the
come in
blueprint.
here
That's the
and meet
blueprint.
you and experience what you're doing. And so I was very happy with that. And then I got this list, and then I came on, and I didn't try to pass it off as my own. I
Avatar Anderson.
was very transparent that it was Simon Hyatt's list, and then I had a nickname for a week as Avatar Curtis.
good.
Then Simon was coming on this week, and I was like, this is perfect. This is a big room of like the biggest baseball nerds. I could sit back and drink coffee, and you were like, no, you got to stay on.
Need the straight
You
guy.
got to stay on.
We need the guy that
So I'm
represents
comparing
the
this
viewer.
to like you go into labor, and the only one around is like Sailor Dan. So that's good. But then you get like a real doctor. You kick Sailor Dan out of the room, don't you?
I don't know.
Can I
this-
just? This was alluded to
more
last
questions
week.
and answers here.
Curtis sends me this text
This
saying,
was a
"Hey,
lead to what we were doing.
Hold on.
Yes.
Go. Let him go. Go, Simon. Go
I'm
ahead.
cooking here.
I get this text from Curtis,
Yeah.
and you alluded to this last week. I was legitimately about 12 hours removed from having my gallbladder removed from my body. So let's just say I was not in my right mind. I was enjoying some fine. I was knocked out, and I'm trying to understand this text that Curtis sent me. It's like, fill out a baseball lineup because I'm going on a podcast to talk base. Okay. Joy, I might call him. Can you read this? Can you explain this text to me? Because I'm clearly not understanding what's going on. But
There was a lot of 3 dots, nothing. 3 dots, nothing. 3 dots, nothing for a good hour.
Yeah.
Anyhow, sorry. I
No,
feel like
this
I've interrupted everybody on the panel.
Yeah.
This
good.
is the beauty, you guys. Anywhere else, we would have program directors, we would have bosses in here saying, "What the hell is wrong with you guys? Go to break. This is brutal." Real people respect real. Real
So,
acknowledges real.
In
Whatever you wanna
closing,
say. Go
I
ahead.
appreciate that you were sensitive to my feelings and wanted me to remain on set, even though you've leveled up like 100 times
Dude.
for baseball talk. So I will sit in my seat and I will listen once again.
Whenever
okay?
you get curious like a cat, chime in. That's it. You represent the viewer.
I represent the viewer.
Yes.
Now I
I-
shall
you know what?
stare.
Friends call me Whiskers.
I would say the average viewer probably doesn't have the quick wit that Avatar does. So I mean, you add
I'm like the
major
prettiest
value.
girl at the dance here.
You know what I mean? No, let's not go so far. Just
Okay.
like you add, you have value.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Coach number
All right.
1, how am I doing at managing the team?
I think we're going really good, although last week I liked it when we would start arguing a bit. But I do want to point out, Curtis, Avatar,
Yes.
you just demonstrated one of the 3 virtues of an ideal teammate. And the reason, I just ran a workshop yesterday for a medical equipment company, and we talked about what makes the ideal teammate. And there's this guy named Patrick Lencioni. He wrote this book, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, from early 2000s. It's one of the classics in teams development. And then he followed it up with this book about ideal teammate. And he says the 3 virtues of the ideal teammate are humble, hungry, and smart. And you just exhibited the trait of humble by not taking credit for the great work that we thought you did, but you actually acknowledged to Simon that he is the one who did all the hard work and coming up with a questionable greatest team of all time. But I just thought
Wait,
I'd
what?
point that out. I wanted to just catch you doing something right, Avatar, and congratulate you on that.
Thank you. I'll take 2 out of 3. I have built a career by surrounding myself with people way more talented and
too.
smarter than me, and that's
too.
not
We're here.
being humble. That's me being smart and opportunistic. And here I am on a live podcast about baseball.
All right, easy, Kendrick Lamar. What do you got?
I was just he mentioned the 2 things: humble, hungry, humble, smart, and then the third one's hungry, right? And then I'd represent that because I crushed all of Gary's peanut
You
M&Ms.
guys have no idea what happened. So
Whoa.
here's a quick little curtain jerk for you.
Crazy.
Behind the scenes, we did an amazing interview with the legendary Les Lazar and Clayton
Arrington.
Croker,
I love
two
Les
incredible human beings. Coach, incredible, not just content producer, but technical producer. There's so many things here. And this guy sets all this up, and we have this amazing interview getting ready to, we're going to play it tomorrow for you as we get ready for bobblehead night. Les has a bobblehead night this Friday. It's going to be amazing. We celebrated that. We talked about the quarter century team and a bunch of really cool stuff. They had to go back to work, they being Croker and Les. So it's me and Maze hanging out, and I'm touching up some stuff and editing and all that. And all of a sudden, I just hear that, and then I hear it, and then he'll reach over, like he was pounding the peanut M&Ms. One fell onto the floor without missing a beat. He scrambles, beats Maggie to it, picks it up, and pops it in. And he keeps saying between every single one, "Why are you letting me do this? Oh,
Yeah.
And then he's got candy and he's got hot rods going. And the guy's just having a feast in there. And it's like, dude, you can eat all you want. It's there for you. And he was trying to blame it on me. He had a feast of candy and hot rods.
There's something about adrenaline, or I don't know, being in the moment. Like when I coach kids, even coach, and we play a game, and I'm exerting a lot of mental energy and trying to coach moments and see different things. I get so hungry after a game. It could be a 9 p.m. game, and we're done at 11. I get so hungry. So we had this little interview going on, and I was excited to be a part of it, kind of like
Really
today.
good. Yeah.
I'll be just so hungry after this, and we're just sitting here talking. But there's a bit of an energy, and I don't know what it is. You just want to eat, and I crushed all of Gary's peanut M&Ms.
I was proud of you, man.
And it wasn't like a bag. It was a Costco
Jar.
jar.
Hand can hold it up. Hand, hold it up. Phenom, grab it. Give us
Can
a
I share
quick.
two
camera
quick
three.
Les Lazarek stories since we're talking
Yes,
about him? 'Cause he's the
100%.
best
Always.
ever.
So
Yes.
good.
When Saskatoon Berries got announced, I was talking to
that's
the
right.
gang, talking to the crew, and saying, "Hey, I'm a baseball guy. I'm a play-by-play guy. You're probably, come on, let's
I'm your
hire it
guy."
up. All right, like, come on, this is obvious, right? Like, I'm just waiting for the phone call. And it's like, don't get the call. And I'm like, well, that's kind of odd. And then it's like, oh, Les Lazarek's doing the play-by-play. Oh, you made the right decision. That's the right call. Les Lazarek is absolutely the guy who should be hired for that job.
It all makes sense now.
I'll go do some PA announcing. And he was also the guy that gave me one of my very first breaks doing play-by-play way back. Do you guys remember the Saskatoon Legends?
Cool.
Yeah,
2003?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they lasted for 3 months, but
Yeah.
Les did the games on the radio. And I remember interviewing him at the news conference when it was announced. I was like, hey, if you ever need someone to come on and help you out.
He's got the
I know baseball,
heart of
I
an
wanna learn.
angel, man.
And he's like, you're
the
my
guy.
color guy.
Yeah.
Was that
Good
two
guy.
stories? You got one more story.
This
That
is
was
the
the second
second
one.
story.
Okay. So I have a question. So
I mean,
we
I
have.
didn't really finish it, but go ahead.
That's what I do.
It's
I'm sorry.
okay.
I get excited.
It's okay.
You
And
get
I-
used to it.
No, it's
Yeah.
all right.
Never take a breath.
That was my fatal mistake.
I was waiting.
Right?
So you have your announcer, your play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
Right. The PA guy sets the tone before the game and
PA
after
guy
the
is
game.
the one who's like talking to the crowd and saying, now batting for the Saskatoon Berries.
So that's
whomever.
the PA announcer.
Public,
Beck, for
public
And so
address
the
announcement.
play-by-play guy, we don't hear in the
In the stadium.
stadium.
Unless
We
you got
hear
your
on the
radio in
recording.
your ears.
And then at
That's
that level,
a baseball
is there
move.
still a color guy?
The way the Berries are, at least in season 1, did their broadcasts, they only had Les. Which, when you have a Les Lazarek, that's all you need.
that's
He
it.
can carry him. He brought me onto the Legends games because he's a mensch. He's a great guy, and said, "Yes, I want to give you this opportunity." But
Bringing you up.
Yeah. So but yes, to answer your initial question, the color guy is the one who's usually a former player who's providing insight into the game.
As I'm learning with doing all this with
Mm-hmm.
Gary, I'm not going to say what it's called, but when we were discussing our teams, our favorite teams, we went through a roster. Now I'd like to go behind the scenes, the guys on the sidelines, right? There's managing, there's your first base coach and everything. But I'd like to start with our favorite. So I didn't eat all of them. Wait, cat's out of the bag. You just ruined the story. But I'll eat some of those.
Don't eat
now.
it on the air. No,
I can't.
it's not. Bro, come on. You can't be chomping
I am
on
who I
M&Ms.
am, Gary.
But you can't be chomping. I was just showing
I'm not
everyone.
gonna
If he
chomp
starts
anything.
going long, just pour the rest on the floor and he'll scramble again.
ET him to send him out the door of the trail.
So we
then,
have.
then we can talk.
So let's skip all this manager stuff.
You
If
got to do
anyone
that anyways.
Off the
Do
cuff.
not wait till he does something wrong. Just pour them out at some stage in the
That's it.
next.
I feel like I know where this question's going, so I'm getting a photo ready.
Oh, I like
Perfect.
this. Here we go.
Let's go with. I don't have a PA guy, because I haven't gone to enough major league games to even.
I don't even
have
know
a
PA
favorite.
guy
Yeah.
names.
So
I think I know the name of the guy who does it for the Cubs, but
here we go. Let's go. Your favorite announcer of all time
Oh, he's getting
for the
into it.
majors,
He's getting
can
into
I?
it.
Is there a
and two
camera
favorite
I
color
can-
guy.
do?
There you go. There you go.
Sorry. So that's me,
Zoom in.
and that's
You want
John
me to
Boog Shambi,
hold
who
on.
for years was one of the ESPN guys. He's currently the Cubs play-by-play guy.
Yeah, I'll go up. There, keep it
Uh,
right there.
oh,
Oh,
sorry.
hold on. I got you. There we go. Let's get
And
it right in there.
yeah, he's the absolute best. Like I thought
you
he was
go.
the best before he became the Cubs play-by-play guy, and then
Amazing.
they hired him, and I think he's the absolute best. I love him. Love Dan Shulman would be
I
another
love
big
Dan
one. He
Shulman,
just
too.
said the Blue Jays and Cubs are so
yeah,
lucky to have these guys as their play-by-play guys.
You look like John Cena in that photo with the
Do I?
matching hat and
Oh, nice.
jersey. I like
How
that.
is it? Just, I guess, yeah. Okay, so we were talking color guys there. Is that what I just witnessed? Or are we talking
Announcer?
play-by-play?
That was I'm
Play-by-play?
doing play-by-play, but
He's
But-
doing play-by-play. So we'll do
Not
a-
Harry Carey?
I mean,
You're the Cubs guy.
here's the thing about Harry Carey.
The moon was made
He's
out
a
of spare
legend.
ribs.
He's the Will Ferrell. He's the Ryan Dempster. They all
Yeah,
do the
other one.
impressions.
So good.
By the
How do
time I
I
became a Cubs fan, I only and like when we were kids, I'm older than everybody here, I'm sure. We didn't get WGN in Saskatoon until I was like in my late teens.
Yeah.
By that point, Harry had already had the stroke.
On its way out.
It was like I understood, like he brought that value to the team. He was the guy who was the legend and people loved him, and Harry Carey, he's the best. By the time I really got to listen to him, I mean, it's not his fault. He kind of lost the ability to call games effectively. And
100%.
so I appreciated him for his role in Cubs lore, but as a broadcaster, which is the thing that I focus more on, like that's
Yeah.
one of the things I'm really passionate about for obvious
course.
reasons.
Yeah.
That's
That's it. I love that.
my
I think we can go around the table here. Coach number one, you want to do a favorite announcer real quick?
I think the only one I grew up with, the only team with the Blue Jays, but so I'm going to go a little bit left field here. I'm actually just
Fergie
gonna hop
Oliver.
sports.
I know who you're
I'm
going
going
to say.
hop. I'm going to hop sports here.
Oh no. Okay.
Bob Cole.
The
In hockey.
Bob Cole.
How could you beat him? Like he, you know.
I guess during the
he would always
CBC
say-
broadcast, eh?
Yeah, I thought he was outstanding. You know, he's like
Yeah.
Niedermeyer. He can wheel. You know, and his
Yeah.
oh Canada, oh baby, he would always say that.
Yeah.
And
Bob
here's a
Cole.
fun little fact about Bob Cole. His daughter worked in Saskatoon. When my wife Nicole was living in Saskatoon, she worked with her at some kind of computer place or technology company. I can't remember what it's called. But Megan Cole, she lived in Saskatoon for a bit. And
crazy.
eventually I found this out. I was like, can we meet Bob? Like, is there a way? Is he ever going to
Yeah.
come and visit? Anyways, it never happened, but that's probably the closest I got to one of the greatest all-time play-by-play guys.
Okay, so you're transcending. You went into hockey because hockey's
That's
a whole
fine.
different
I
thing.
did,
like that.
sorry.
I thought we were
That's
no.
fine.
I thought we were
Yeah.
doing like the old days when CBC would do your weekend Blue Jays game. Then you get the hockey guys calling baseball. I always
Ron
thought that was really
Chevrier.
cool. Yeah, like whoa,
Fergie Oliver.
that's
Oh,
it.
there you go.
Yeah,
Could I say WWF's Jim Ross then?
yeah.
right,
If
that's
you
my
do it
favorite
with your
play-by-play.
Yeah,
impression,
you can.
If
Yeah.
you do it with the JR impression,
Oh, by God!
he broke him in half. Mazer, who you got, buddy? I love this. Who's your announcer?
I was going to give him more time to do.
No, that's
You
okay.
didn't want it.
that's
I
it.
can tell.
Okay,
Hey,
fine.
read your audience, man.
Well,
Let 'em know.
I'll circle back to me because I just thought of.
Okay, I got
a
too many. I got too many. If we're going hockey, the great Drew Remenda, my mentor, as well as the
Drew's
great
such a great
Roger
guy.
Millions, like guys that I just love. We talked about Pete Lubardius before. Like these guys that came through here, they sucked us in. But when it's baseball, I call him our bedtime story babysitter.
Yeah.
When you were growing up and you had a Dodgers game on and you got Vin Scully in the house and you talk about Les not need another guy,
Yeah,
put Vin in, let him go.
his entire career,
Unbelievable.
no color guy.
Unbelievable. And you knew, like he'd probably say like 5 words a sentence and then
Yeah.
he'd space them out. And you knew every single thing that was going on during that game. Him and the late great Bob Uecker, because Bob
There we go.
freaking Uecker.
I knew you were going that way.
I had
So I remember, just being at home and watching a Dodgers game. Usually it's an afternoon game or it's a late game, one or the other.
West
it's not
Coast.
your regular viewing
That's what I
time
say,
when
it's
you're
your bed-
watching
nap time.
the Jays. It's like
Yeah.
you skip school and you turn the TV on and oh sweet, there's an afternoon Dodgers game and it's like top of the 7th in the whatever, and he's got his little thing. And then Gary's always told me about you never want dead air when you're talking, and I do that all the time because I don't know what I'm doing up here. But you didn't ever want that. But I was just like, but then explain Vin Scully, because you'll hear the crackle in his microphone, just drawing you into the next word. I was like, there's something about his cadence and the way he talks that defies those rules, and and he brings it in, and you're right. You might get
It's not dead air.
okay.
That's called letting the game breathe.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a big
whatever.
difference.
There's
you
a
guys.
big difference between choking
Yeah.
and stopping mid-sentence and being like,
I've done that in a lot of newscasts too.
yeah.
it's
Fair
not
enough.
good. When you're
Baseball
like,
lends
cut
itself
it, cut
to a
it.
little bit of breathing, a little bit of that. you
That's
know?
actually very important when you're broadcasting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Vin Scully came from Brooklyn with the Dodgers. He started when they were the
Brooklyn Dodgers.
Brooklyn
That's
Dodgers.
insane.
Yeah.
And Walter O'Malley said, "No, I'm not hiring an LA guy. I'm bringing my guy from
That's
Unreal."
amazing.
That is cool. And I mean,
He also
a
did
sweet
the,
retirement direction for him too.
Go ahead, AJ. Oh,
Go ahead. Sorry. What?
Because he also did the Dodgers Diamondbacks series here in Sydney about 7 or 8 years ago. He came out here, so it was
That's so
awesome for the Aussies to be able to experience that. I don't know if they appreciate it as much as we did, but just when he introduced the game, it was legendary. Just we're here in Sydney, Australia. It was just for the true baseball fans, we were like, man, it doesn't get any better than this.
That's it.
So great call out on Vin Scully.
Absolutely.
Hard to beat. He'd have to be number one.
Yeah,
So
I think we can all agree.
number 2, I think, would be Bob Uecker, who you said like there, and then, like
transcended.
he's a comedian. He
So good.
switched it to like a comedy act while he's calling a game,
Ball
and then
4,
just
ball 8,
self-deprecating
ball
like stuff
12.
that I live for, like that. Just if I can rip into myself in any way to make to give you less ammo against what you might be thinking against me. Maybe all you guys are nice, but all I think is all you guys are just waiting to rip into me about being a complete moron and stuff like that. So if I can,
I don't feel like I know you that well yet.
okay,
Gary and I usually wait till you're gone.
exactly. So Bob Uecker just destroys himself, and he destroys people, and he just picks apart things, and he could get away with it. I love that. That's not my guy though. So my guy, I'm gonna go back to Dave Van Horn
Oh, there's one.
because it's so Jays.
Yeah.
And when I was really into the Jays, obviously, right? And then a color guy would be for a couple of years his color guy. But I want to go do another one. So you're a PA.
Yep.
So if
Done a lot of PA, a lot of play-by-play. But sorry, go right ahead.
but for the PA announcing, I think Mirari. Were you ever at a Yellow Jackets game, AJ, when Mirari was doing the play-by-play? No.
Play by play or PA?
Oh, PA. Sorry, PA, not play-by-play. He was doing the PA announcing at Yellow Jackets games, and they had nobody, and then he stepped up and he did it, and he was absolutely unbelievable. And I only caught a few games in passing playing senior ball, or like went to a couple games, but it might have been like you arrived late and there's a game going and we're playing the nightcap, or vice versa, and you just listen to him call some games or do some play-by-play and it just announce who's batting and stuff like that. And you maybe didn't get to do it, but if I can find a video or find a recording of it, which would be tough because of the year that he did it in, I think you'd appreciate it. So that would be a you answer if you've heard it.
Interesting.
I also did a couple seasons.
I wonder
of Yellow
if
Jackets. Sorry, go right ahead.
Nice.
I think it would be hard sometimes when you're doing a game like that and you're on your own and you're the PA announcer. There's probably do's and don'ts.
Mhm.
Simon can probably attest to that because, you might say now batting number 17, Gary Nickel, and then you go
You're right.
now coming up the plate 2 for 4 with a home run, Gary Nickel,
No.
or
Right
like
line.
you say the plays. That's a ground out to shortstop, and there's now 2 outs in the innings. I can remember going to different small towns in Saskatchewan, and you'd have people kind of doing a mix of both. And I
Blended.
felt that's kind of
Yeah.
breaking the rules. If you're PA, you're announcing the players, you're telling the score, how many outs, and that's it.
Yeah.
Is it Simon? Is that the way it works, or what's your view
No,
on that?
it's very much saying who's batting. If there's a pitching change, announce pitching change. Defensive switch, announce that. Read the ads. Read there's always the people
yeah.
spinning on the bat between innings, doing that. You have a pretty straight script in terms of what you do, but it's no actual play-by-play elements, unless like if something remarkable happens, like in one of the last games of the Barrie season last year, Carter Beck hit for the cycle.
Ooh.
And so I made a mention of that. Like if something outstanding happens, it's like people need to know.
Who was that catcher that was pretty electric for the Berries from
Oh, man.
Louisiana? Was he from Louisiana?
They had a few Louisiana guys.
But It's okay.
Couple
I don't want to put you on the spot, but he was
From
a catcher.
Opelousas. I remember the hometown was
Right.
Opelousas.
So if he's
I had to say
next
that
to
a lot.
bat, we say his name. Would you be like? And fun fact, his parents have traveled in from Louisiana to be with us today. Like, would you ever do something like that? Like, give a shout out if you knew his parents were in, and
sorry.
it's just like super put a ton of pressure on him as he step into the plate.
Hope he doesn't strike out again. No, there was one time when a visiting player was in from somewhere in Alberta last year, and he had like his entire family there.
Right.
And so one of his uncles or something came up to the booth and said, "Hey, can you just make mention?" It's like, sure, fun like that. Usually we'll do that in the pregame introductions, like when you read the whole lineup.
Yeah.
And let people know. You might make a mention of something like that.
Crazy. Hey, I'm going to be a professional here real quick and do a reset. That's what they call it in the biz. The All the Way Around table got a special guest today, Simon Hyatt, local legend, as you've heard, PA guy for the Berries, as well as the Rattlers play-by-play.
You got it.
Nailing it. Hanging out like we do every Wednesday. If you're enjoying what you're seeing and you know what's going on, if you have anything, maybe you got some baseball teams that want to give us some scores once baseball gets going, anything. We're real easy to contact. Just hit us up at contact@dufferinave.com. As well, we have a website. Sorry there, AJ. DufferinAve.com. Just like the email, minus the contact and the @ Very, very easy. Reach out to us. You want to become an advertiser. You got a charity that needs a push. Anything else, we're here for you. I can't stress that enough.
So great. So awesome.
I will tell you, the PA announcing, it's one of those unheralded positions, is what I found. Like, I would get to the Rush game 4.5 hours early.
Wow.
And because we'd have our pregame meeting, and we get our script, which is about 150 pages.
Sure is.
And with that script, I would spend, after that production meeting, I would spend about 2 to 2.5 hours sitting down and just reading over and over and over again.
I'm out.
And all of the pronouncers, you know how important pronunciation is.
Absolutely.
I would go to people and I would say, how do you pronounce this? How do you do that? And I would put so much time into this performance. And then I'd get in there and I'd bomb because I'm not made to be a PA announcer. And I knew that very early, but I tried as hard as I could. We did a lot of, and that's the other thing is you have a headset here, you have a person beside you here, a person beside you here, and then you have another link on a headset on a microphone. So I'm talking to 4 different groups of people at once. And this guy's always chiming in with these little quirks as we're going. So I'll be like super stressed out and he'll just like crack something about like Beverly Hills 90210 or something. And that's
Because I'm in the bunker switching cameras.
yes.
And I also have like 3 people talking in my headset.
So many people talking in our headsets.
Always like devalue yourself and your what you did that season. It is not an easy job. I mean, it's different than what you're talking about. You know, have you ever had to do PA where 3/4 of your job is hyping
That's the worst.
the crowd?
No, yeah, that's
right,
that's
that's
a really good point.
That was his. That's what is expected in that role, and I think you do not give yourself enough credit.
How many times did?
Because there are very few people in the city, I feel, that have that quality, and you were just sandwiched between 2 of the best.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
I would go on there and I would just finally say, all right, you guys, nothing I'm saying is working to get the crowd going. I will just parrot whatever you
and
say.
I've said this before
we
on the
parrot it a
show.
lot.
When you're down, your home team is down by like 8 points. There's nothing you can say,
But boy, we tried.
but like how get on your feet. You can how many times can you say that in a quarter?
I broke
before,
my voice every single game.
Right?
I couldn't talk
it's
the
a
next day.
thankless job.
Yeah.
And
It's
now
really, that's the
Rush,
point.
go.
That's
I'm
it.
bringing
That was
Simon into this conversation to back me up, to make you feel a little bit better about that year you did it. Where could you imagine trying to hype the crowd while you're doing your PA job? Like what?
Yeah, that's
It's a lot.
That's an extra element, absolutely.
I will say this though, I nailed every pronunciation except Medivh. I couldn't do Medivh for like 3 games.
Did you say
straight.
me, Davey? Because I've done
damn
that
near,
one.
yeah, damn near. And each time it was to the point where it got into my head. So I knew no matter how many times I practiced it, I was going to say it wrong. So I just did it, and then it finally just sort of left. But
So, yeah,
perfect
no,
example.
I want to put that in Simon's head because you're trying to do your job of pronouncing. you know what I'm saying.
Pronounce
Everything,
Yeah.
everything correctly, but you've got this voice in your head being like, hey, we got to get the crowd back into it. Like,
let's go, Garrett.
get the
Come on,
crowd
Garrett.
pumped up,
Go,
and you're
Garrett.
down by like 17 points, and you're like, I don't. And they're like, hey, try something else. And you're like, go, Rush, go. Okay, try something else. Go, Rush, go. And it's just like, guys.
And I got in trouble as well. They wanted to put a camera on me. They're like, we want to get you on camera and push you. I was like, no, I'm good, guys. Like, no, like you have to go on camera. Like, no, I'm fine. Like I'm good over here.
So
I don't
in
want to be
closing,
on camera. Yeah,
I
it
brought
wasn't
in
for me.
a fellow PA to tell you that is a hard
Very
job.
nice.
Okay?
Well, I appreciate, and I would never.
Okay,
I
so
wouldn't
Real
be-
heroes.
Don't be hard on yourself.
I wouldn't trade it for the world. The experience was incredible. That's the thing. I learned so much, and I'm so happy I got in when I did, and I got out when I did. It's perfect. Like Tyler was so happy when he called. I tell the story all the time. I just got let go from the other job. I'm on the golf course with my dad, and I'm stressing. It was still like 2 months away, and I'm stressing just thinking about having to walk in there and do another year of that. And the universe, like it did that entire time, it still does to this day, reaches out. I get a phone call while I'm on the golf course. It's Tyler. And he's like, hey, buddy, how's it going? I was like, oh, doing pretty good. Got let go from the other job, but besides that, I'm great. Looking forward to the season. He's like, oh, yeah, about that. And I like the smile came over my face, like, oh my God, it's happening. And he says, yeah, I think we're going to go in a different direction. I said, Tyler, thank you so much. You have no idea how much relief you just brought me. This is incredible. If you need anything from me, I'm here for you. And do not feel bad in any way. Thank you.
And
then
Rager.
I hung up, and then I look over at my dad. He goes, who is that? It's like, that was the Rush. They just fired me. And he looks at me and goes, well, now you really need a job, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I really do. Anyways.
You need the personality of a
That's
Gregor,
it.
though. You need
So
like
good.
a David Lee Roth.
Yeah,
You need
that's
someone
it.
who's just like,
That's it.
even when no one's watching, I imagine Gregor's just like running in place, tap
Doing his
dancing.
thing.
You know, that's the energy you need for that.
That's a great placeholder.
for that role.
I was a great placeholder, and I'm happy to say that. Okay, guys, we don't have much time. Are we going to get into these rosters at all, or are we just going to keep hanging out? Because I'm enjoying this conversation a lot.
Well,
Either way.
the next step would be a color guy. And does anyone have a color guy at the top of their head? And I know we didn't plan for this, but that's fun. But I mean, we can get controversial with the current Jays one because he's
I don't
kind of
think we wanna do that.
polarizing. But
I don't think we want to get
I've
controversial
enjoyed
here.
his performances during the World Series playoffs when the Jays aren't involved.
You're talking about Buck.
I'm talking about Buck, but I do not enjoy Buck for whatever reason during Jays games. I don't know what it is. So
I think Buck is I think he's a good color guy. I think when they tried to shoehorn him into the play-by-play spot, I didn't think that worked at all. So getting Dan Schulman back was fantastic for them. They work well. I mean, so much of it is the chemistry between those two guys,
absolutely.
between the guy and gal, whoever it is. That's the key. If that's not there, it's not going to work. And so
100%.
my answer is the guy who works with the guy I'm in the photo with there, Jim DeShays, JD. They do such a great job on the Cubs.
And
game.
not just because you got the photo.
Not just because I
That's
got
right.
the
Gotta make
random
that
photo
clear.
as I was hanging out in San Francisco and it's like, oh my God, Mojabi.
Coach One, you got a color guy?
Dick Irving.
Oh, he's going back to hockey again.
that's fine.
Like,
That's
fair.
fine.
That's fair. That's okay.
It's you're on the spot.
I could not tell you this conversation is a little bit humbling because I've watched sport my whole life,
Mhm.
like from the time I was 5 or 6, and trying to come up with the best play-by-play. You know what? It's just like they're part of the game, but I could not. I don't know the intricacies of it. I don't know. I don't even know half the names of the people. But to hear you guys share what actually happens in the background, I just feel like a complete idiot here going, this is a major part of people's enjoyment of the game. That's probably why Curtis is loving this. We're not talking about like the game. We're talking about the stuff behind the scenes, and he's right into it. But it's totally humbling on my side. I love hearing this stuff. So I can only think of Dick Irving, but I love this. I just keep sharing these nuggets of wisdom. I had one more question. I could probably ask Simon all these questions all day long. So you're doing the PA for Berries. Are you? I don't know if the Berries, do they have sound effects? You know, when there's a foul ball, there's a sound of a broken glass, so there's music between innings. Do you have to do that as well, or is that a complete different job? Is
No,
somebody else doing?
The person who sits to the left of me is who runs the music that plays like the walk-up songs and the music that plays between innings and whatever. They also handle sound effects.
Like a popular one is a foul ball into the stands and breaking plates happen for
Yeah.
some reason. It's like, well, whose has a plate? It's only paper that you're getting from the concession. Not realistic,
Oh, that's a good point.
you know? Can we get some paper plates?
This guy wants
I think it's supposed to be a
continuity in
window.
his sound
Oh, it's
effect.
a window. It's
Yeah.
not paper. It's not
No,
plates.
like,
It's a
hit a
window.
windshield in like the parking
Oh.
lot.
Not going into your mom's china cabinet.
Gotcha.
Do you
Now I
remember?
know.
Sorry, were you still with us, Curtis, when we did some baseball or softball in Prince Albert, and there was a foul ball, and it actually shattered the rear windshield of one of our vehicles?
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
It was
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, they got the sound effects going. It's oh no, they don't.
Oh, no.
That's our van.
It's a windy ride home.
We've always wondered with the rec sports, with the Rhinos, shout out to the Rhinos, when someone smashes a windshield or a window in a vehicle in the parking lot, who pays for that? Who's responsible?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was actually our Prince Albert guys' vehicles. Wasn't our problem. We stopped asking questions.
No, the worst is when we used to for rec ball. You played with a game with the Rhinos when you were one of the
Orange
years
up.
you were visiting AJ and you came out and I don't know if at the same time the exhibition was going on or just after you left it started, but there's people park wherever, right? So they park in the same spot that we're playing games in.
Like
We
right
all know to park away from the diamond, but there was a situation where a foul ball goes and breaks a window, and then the guy trots over and just like, who's paying for my window? Who did this? And just like, well, the ball did it. No, but who threw it at it or whatever? It's like, well, no, it was a foul ball. Well, then who struck the ball? Like, just couldn't understand that it's your own problem. You're playing, even though it's a recreation game that's happening, there is a inherent risk when you're on the grounds where the game's going on. You might have a broken windshield, and you're going to fork over the $400 or $700 if you get the fancy intermittent windshield wiper communicating windshield.
Hope you have
Your
the package
SOL.
policy.
Yeah, do you have a package policy?
Welcome
It
back.
just seems like
You're doing
common
deals?
sense that you don't park near. You don't park near first base or third base line. We were training one day at a different field,
Even
and there's
I
a
know
tennis
that.
club behind, and we got a call from the tennis coach saying somebody broke my windows. Oh, so why? Like president of the club, same thing. He goes, "Oh, a ball came and hit it." And I was like, "Well, why would you park there?" Like, so he was looking for us to cover it, and
Yeah.
in the end,
Interesting.
his insurance covered it, but he wanted us to pay his premium, and we just said, "Tough luck." Like it's
Yeah, this
just
isn't,
common sense, isn't it?
this isn't a gas
It's-
station, bro. Keep your
It's
premiums
not.
to yourself.
People that don't understand the game don't understand that the ball leaves the playing area. That you sometimes when the city designs a park and then has parking in the foul territory, like go to Swift for instance. Have you ever parked down, played at the Ball Diamonds in Swift Current? It's like it's foul ball death alley. So it's like the big league parks on one side, then the U15 parks on the other side, then there's another U15 park, then there's U13, then there's U11, and there's parking in between. And it's just like foul ball central. So I remember going to provincials. I was like, Sarah, where do we park? We can't park here. And and it seems to be grandparents that don't want to walk 3 kilometers to go watch their kids play. They do that. And we're just like, at your own risk. You probably have insurance. You're old enough to understand you need those things probably. So, but yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Question, real quick. So are you telling me that basically what I'm hearing from all of this is the people that park really close to these ball fields are the same people that build houses on golf courses? Is that what we're getting at?
It might
Very
be.
strong analogy.
Because I'm telling
I
you,
would agree.
as a guy who lived out in Shields for a good 5 years, that golf course there, like 7, 8, I guess it's 8 and 9 of the 9-hole course, right there. I guess it would be 7 and 8 are right up against it, and they got this tiny little fake fence that doesn't stop anything. And you're supposed to tee off at this one spot, and it's all new development. So these people have purchased these homes within the last 2 or 3 years. They know what's happening. They see the size of this fence, and it's literally like it's not solving any issues. Nothing is getting caught by this. And it took me about 4 shots that went over the houses, before I said, I'm not teeing off here anymore. I'm going to go up to where I'm not hitting the houses, and I'm going to tee up from 150 instead of 290. And no, it's like everyone loves driving a green, right? You putt for show or whatever, drive for dough, whatever it is,
Yeah,
chicks dig the
some-
long ball, whatever you want to use here. I had to sacrifice that feeling of driving a really long green to make sure I don't hit these houses. And I've watched so many people hit those houses over and over and over again. And every single time, they always say, why would you build a house there? And if you go to any of these places that are public courses lined both sides with beautiful, beautiful houses, I get the allure of living on the course, but if you're going to live on the course, you're going to get hit. It's going to happen at some point. It will happen to you. So there has to be something set up for that. Just like park away from the damn field. Don't build a house on the course. That was a little bit,
There's other
personal
courses
there.
that make you they release themselves from liability. So I think Greenbrier's like that. I think Wildwood has a sign that they're not liable for the person that.
Yeah. So
hits
guess who
the
is? You
vehicle.
are.
So if
So
you're
I'm
caught,
not going to golf there.
So it's like it's the same thing.
If
so
you're caught. What?
if you're caught doing it,
What are
like
you
if
using
you're
bank
purposely
robbing rules here, bro?
if you're purposely teeing up a ball and hitting it at a house, then and you get caught on
That
purpose,
rightfully
right?
you deserve it. There.
Same
That's
thing with
karma.
kids
Yeah.
throwing bricks through windshields or baseballs through a windshield. Obviously, that's away from the game.
Kids he
But yeah,
rolling
if there's
with,
like
eh? Crazy.
if you shank a drive because the designer of the course should adjust as soon as they build houses there. Take that element away.
The course should know that there's people like me, many people like me, that slice the hell out of every single shot I take.
Yeah.
They need to know that. It's going to go
Or
there.
their argument is know your game, and if you don't have that in the bag, pull out a 4-iron
And eventually it just moved up.
or do what you
Now-
did, I guess. Yeah.
Welcome
Now,
to
on the
show,
topic
Simon.
of-
Welcome to the show. This is actually more focused than it usually is. Yeah.
Go ahead,
Now,
Coach Bud.
on the topic of shanking balls into yards of houses built on golf courses, just a segue into. Can we go through our top managers
Segue?
and coaches?
Oh,
Hey!
100%. Let's end
Yeah,
it with that.
please.
Here we go.
Please.
Here we go.
But
I'm
I didn't
gonna-
even say,
We did,
Gary.
what, 2
I didn't even
categories
get.
in this
My
hour?
red light's going off. My mic's about to, or my, now you got
I
me
didn't
calling
even
them
get to
mics.
say Gary.
My
Carter,
transmitter's about to
so-
go off.
I was gonna say Jesse Ventura for my favorite play.
Oh, he's good.
but that was
So
like 45
good.
minutes ago.
No matter how big you are, Mean Gene, a rake to the eyes will
Yeah.
slow you down every time.
Listen here, me,
Talking about
Gene.
shanking.
There was a wrestler named Shanky.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, who's going first?
Do you want me? Can I go down my entire roster and
No,
then you guys can fill in, or we're going one at a one?
No.
What kind of time do we have here?
It's like 5 minutes, you guys.
Thank you. We
Manager Felipe Alou,
Can
bench
I'm
coach
going to take the
DeMarlo
lead
Hale.
on this because
All right, go ahead. Yeah, that's
I
fine.
feel like
Oh,
Coach
another
Comma
guy.
2 is going to have a different list. Okay, Coach Comma 2, favorite manager.
Felipe Alou. I already said it.
Solid.
That's good. Simon.
Joe Madden. Even though I think the Cubs won the World Series somewhat in spite of him, he led them to a World Series.
This shouldn't surprise you. I'm going to say Miss Elizabeth. Welcome as manager.
Yeah, well,
So-
both different sports are allowed.
Right?
Obviously.
I bring so little to the table, and I'm proud of it.
Is that me?
I'm going with Joe Madden as well.
Nice.
Oh.
So good. Did you steal
Madden.
Cito from me?
Yeah,
Did
he's
you
a
steal
player's
Cito?
No, I left him on the table for you.
Cito Gaston.
No.
It's not even close. Like, I don't know what anyone else is even thinking. It's Cito Gaston going back
World
to back
Series.
when
How are you going
nobody would give you. Like, to this day, they still say that you or I could have managed that team. It was so good. Like, no, stop. We're not going to talk about why people won't give him the credit for what he achieved, but I will say this. He deserves so much more. Stop hating on Cito freaking Gaston.
And I will say, I saw a chart of the amount of times the Blue Jays have made the playoffs since those World Series victories.
How'd that look?
Very, very bleak, very empty. I think 7 times. So that's moving on.
Okay. We got one more?
All right, so that's our favorite manager. What about batting coach? Who are you choosing for your hitting
What?
coach?
Cito Gaston.
Nice. Well done.
We're at a different year.
Who's the Cubs? Who's the Cubs one?
Here we go.
I'm bad at coaches, I'll have to admit. So I'm going to go with my default when I couldn't come up with a good one is who was the 2016 Cubs fill in the blank? It was John Maley. Who could
Exactly.
forget the John Maley era?
100%.
Great. A quick Cito Gaston story.
Yes.
Very quick.
Yes.
Fine.
In Regina, the Blue Jays played an exhibition game against the Canadian national team in 1989, it must have been, because it was right before Jimmy Williams got fired and Cito Gaston got hired as their manager. And it was a bad start to the year.
Yeah.
And so you knew the axe was coming. And it was like, oh, and I was outside like a kid collecting autographs at the time. And Cito Gaston comes up. And I was like, oh, I bet you maybe this guy's going to be there. Mr. Gaston, would you sign an autograph for me? No, I cannot.
Oh,
And
no.
just got on the bus.
That's
He's
fine.
a dink.
Well, in that one particular,
Cito!
nobody was super
Cito!
thrilled to be in Regina playing an exhibition game.
Well,
No.
that's it. Like Is that a perk of the job of being a Toronto Blue Jays that you get to go to Regina, Saskatchewan? Or is that one of those things that you just have to suck up?
Like you
It's just
signed
one
the
of the shit
contract
jobs that
and
you gotta
it's
do.
at the bottom of the contract where it's like,
That makes me so
FYI,
sad.
here's some other requirements.
In small print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
You're
the
getting
line
paid.
waiting for you
Um,
for 3 hours in the blistering cold, and you just said no.
No, I cannot.
Stan.
Dang.
Oh, good one. Yeah.
Curtis.
What?
This is a tough
Who's
one.
your hitting coach?
Oh, I'm invisible. I was Avatar for him last week.
Say Barry Bonds.
Like,
Say
I don't
Barry
know why I'm
Bonds.
here. It's like
Say-
the adults
say that.
are here.
Say that.
Say what?
Barry Bonds.
Oh yeah, Barry Bonds.
Nice.
Funny story about Barry Bonds
That's
as a
my
hitting
money
coach.
guy.
When for the Rhinos, Jason Garchinski, eye doctor,
Garch.
when he was
Shout out Rio,
Uh,
Stevie Rio. We talked to him today. Great man.
a guy that he played ball with, moved to Florida, and he started a baseball bat making
Is
company.
that where I got Gary's
Ta-
bat from?
That's where you got Gary's bat. Tomahawk bats.
I should get that.
right.
I'm gonna
And
go
one
get it
of
from the house.
he got an in, and he was able to make bats for the coaching staff of the Marlins, and he's got a bat that he made for Barry Bonds as hitting coach. So that's
That's very cool.
very cool.
Should I be alarmed
And
about
Don Mattingly.
we're about to wrap the show and the host just left?
I don't think we should be alarmed
Yes.
because it's
my
got
first
legs.
one. I
It's
don't
got
wanna-
legs of its own.
Okay.
This isn't uncommon.
That's right. Okay. Okay, so
What do you
let's,
got?
Let's keep moving along. I had Tony Gwynn.
Ah,
I
San
just
Diego
thought I
State?
saw him speak once, and I thought he made it real simple. He was gold.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
hey, he made it back.
Oh,
It's about to
And
get
he's
walking-
armed.
It's about to
Run
get
for your
Walking Dead in
lives.
here. I'm not Glenn. I'm not Glenn.
you're too dark. You got to back up into the light. Come into the light.
Come into the light. Always good advice.
Oh, there we go.
Beautiful.
Everyone else got their real name.
And show the logo.
I said, I just want mine to be Gary's bat.
Tomahawk Bats making a comeback in 2025. Look for them on your social medias. They make good bats.
Gary's bat. Look at that. Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. It went with the all red.
Maybe
Toronto.
Pet Planet on 8th Street. Start carrying those.
Yeah, for sure.
They're pretty baller. And Mike and Rochelle would probably do that. They're
they help
amazing.
toilet train the animals.
There are some sweet bat makers in town, though. Back-to-back bats.
Look at that
Also
pine tar,
pretty sweet.
coach. Look at the pine tar.
Oh, and you broke it.
Like a man, a kinger broke it. Now she's retired. But
Should we start Frankie's
She's
fingers? We got a minute.
Well,
all right. Well, that clock's a little fast, but yeah,
Okay,
I see where
all
you're
right.
going with this.
we do.
Phenom, let's get Frankie fired up, and we'll make our way out of here.
This is like the thank you award speech starts going long, so they start
Oh,
wrapping
yeah,
up
yeah.
the
Playing
music.
me off.
The hook,
and then
yeah.
I deny it, so I'll just keep going here.
We got another
Pitching
10
coach,
minutes.
Pete Walker. First base, Sandy Alomar Sr. Third base,
Brian
Tom
Butterfield.
Lasorda in the All-Star game.
Oh, yeah, getting knocked over.
Oh, when he got
Bullpen.
knocked over, yeah, with
That
that.
lost
Yeah,
the
yeah,
bat.
yeah.
Bullpen, Pat Henkin. General Manager, Pat Gillick. President, Paul Beeston.
He's beasting.
We'd said Van Horn. And then, if I could pick a uniform to play in forever, it would be Padres Brown.
Solid.
I would be in Padres Brown, eating roasted peanuts and having a beer. And since this is the afterlife, possibly, it doesn't matter if it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic because there's no end coming. The best MLB TV show of all time is This Week in Baseball with Mel Allen. The best MLB game show is a show called Home Run Derby.
Oh,
And
so
if you
good.
ever
Mickey
look
Mantle.
back,
The Mick.
take the time to watch Home Run Derby, a traveling, I guess they were in a solid location, but they had home run, the
Big
great
names.
home run
Big
hitters
names. Babe
come
Ruth,
in, and it was a
Mickey Mantle.
challenge, a week-to-week
Socking
challenge.
ding-dings all night long. So sick.
Episode 1 is the best episode of
the one
any
you sent me,
game
yeah.
show I've ever seen in my life. Honorable mention out there, Sparky Anderson.
So
Okay, Dusty Baker.
Hey.
Don't forget about
Dusty,
these
former
guys.
Cubs
He's done a
manager.
lot, yeah. He's done a
Great
lot.
guy. Saw him as a Reds
Are you
manager
going to
at
read
Wrigley.
that list that you gave us of about 40 different players?
He's trying to.
Which
We're almost out.
we might get cut out of time here, but I just like to
gotta
say
say
there's
our
some
goodbye.
players that were left off of these rosters, like Dave Stewart, just a mean
good. I
pitcher.
love Dave
I
Stewart.
got
Lou
his autograph
Gehrig.
in Regina.
Sick.
Hey, Devon White.
Devo.
No one said Devon
I
White.
did. I
You
put him
didn't
out
say
there.
Devo, did you?
I said Ricky Henderson and Devon White.
Okay, Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Should
Did
have
you
had a
say
triple
him?
play in the World Series.
Thank
Did
you.
you say Shoeless
Thank you.
Joe?
Good old
No.
Shoeless
No one brought up shoes.
Johan Santana.
Are we running through everyone
Mike
else's list?
Mussina.
No.
Moose.
Okay. Freddie Freeman, I don't think got set. Teoscar Hernandez.
Dale.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr. once
good.
wished my
Phenom
my
has to do
nephew
one
a
of
happy
these.
birthday. He wished him a happy birthday. Hey, Willie. Happy birthday, Willie. It was
The
cool.
mic and the music.
All right, you guys. Hey, I love you all. This has
right.
been the All the Way Around Table. Remember, karma is very, very real. Do good things will happen to you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.